When things are very disorderly, it's good to have a woman like Abigail around. Somebody who understands foolish people like her husband Nabal, and Nabal means foolish, so he was named appropriately. He was wealthy and didn't have a lot of good sense. And King David, who was a very flawed person, even though he was spiritually in line with the Lord and had a great heart, a little bit impetuous sometimes. And David became king eventually. He wasn't king yet here in this passage in 1 Samuel 25, but Samuel had just died. Samuel, the great prophet. And this Samuel was the kingmaker, the person who anointed people king over Israel. And Saul was anointed king, and David was his go-to man. And David was an amazing warrior and bodyguard and musician and all those things, very gifted young man. And Saul was jealous and kept trying to kill him, and David kept trying to be loyal to Saul. And it was so hard for him to be loyal to Saul because the pointy spears were coming after David, and he was always on the run with his men. And he had ample opportunity to kill Saul, but never did, and was looking for ways to remain loyal to his king. And he was out in the fields near where Nabal was working, and he was protecting Nabal's considerably large employee base that were out in the fields doing their thing, tending the sheep and the goats, thousands of them. And David was protecting them, and they got to be friends with Nabal's shepherds. And Nabal started shearing the sheep, and David sent an envoy, a group of people, to go talk to Nabal, saying, hey, we're out here trying to survive, and we've protected your employees out here in this lawless part of the world. And if you've got anything extra, if you'd let us eat with you, that'd be great. So politely as possible, asking him. And Nabal says, being foolish, oh, who are you that I should be sending food to you? Who is this David character anyways? And basically just was very disagreeable for no reason. And to be disagreeable with a bunch of armed men is not a good idea, especially someone as impetuous as David. And David basically said, hey, why don't I just go kill all these people since they're being so ridiculous, which is not very wise either. And in steps Abigail. Abigail, between two less than wise men, both with big personalities, decided that she would saddle up the donkeys and bring a whole bunch of food out to David's men. So Abigail used some very high-end negotiating skills and basically cooled David down, and then went back to Nabal. And Nabal ended up dying when he found out that she had brought food to David without asking him. And yeah, a bunch of bad stuff went on. David ended up taking her as his wife. And that was one of the wisest things David ever did, because he could use someone like her, someone who was smarter than both Nabal and David. But just read this passage and read her negotiating skills and read how she puts herself out there, depending on no one else, and creates a situation where the right people get fed, the right people get supported, some good things happen. And we can learn a lot from Abigail, how to de-escalate a situation that's gotten out of control. De-escalation is always a good way and a wise way to connect with people and to bring wisdom into a hot situation. There's a lot of hothead stuff going on right now. Maybe you can de-escalate a situation today or this week, and the world will be better off for it. Be like Abigail. That's the good news for today, and I'll talk to you again tomorrow.